Hi everyone, happy to have you here with me once again. Welcome back. Today, as you can see in the title, we're having the update for the A through Z Project Pan. I don't remember who was the creator of this project, but as always, I'm going to be leaving her channel down in the description box. But yeah, this year I'm trying to hit pan in as many shades as possible, and to be honest, this and last year hasn't been my panning years. I have been really slow hitting pan on eyeshadows. I feel like I want to give more love through my whole collection rather than focusing only in one product. But at the same time, I really like to focus in one shade until I hit pan on it. So I decided to join this project. But since for me, working in the whole amount of letters of the alphabet at the same time, I don't know how many letters that is, 24, 27, something like that. It will be way too much. I decided to do something a little bit different. I have heard of a couple of people doing this way too. But I'm focusing in 4 letters at a time. So for example, I start with letter A, B, C, and D. And once I hit pan in any of those shades or letters, I will be able to roll the next letter. This is the second update of this project, if I'm not mistaken, and we're going to be rolling out our first letter. But yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself, so let's start talking about the shades that I've been working on for this project. Okay, so for letter A, I start working in a minty shimmer shade, but then I realized after like 2 months that I wasn't really feeling inspired to reach for that color, so I decided to change it for another shade that started with the letter A, and I decided to go with After Midnight from the Ménage Moi palette from Colourpop, and this is what it was looking last month. And let me see how I show you this, but this is the shade today. I know you cannot see it very clearly in the camera, but hopefully you will be able to see it in the close-ups. But I have used it 8 times so far, and I can definitely see a dip. Colourpop has 2 different formulas in their mattes. Some of them are really hard pressed and difficult to pan, and some others are more powdery and for that reason easier to pan. And this is way powdery than other Colourpop shades that I have. So for that reason, considering that I have used it 8 times, this should have a pan in around 20 or 25 uses. I created this like build your own palette, this magnetic palette with this color story that makes me feel really inspired, and with this palette has been really easy for me to reach for that shade, and I'm happy to be able to see a dip already. It's going to take us a while, but I'm happy. But yeah, that's the first letter. For letter B, I've been working in this shade since kind of the beginning of the year, and I decided to go with the shade Brownie for my Soft Extra Spice palette with Revolution, and it's this shade over here, and I think you can see it that we have a little bit of pan there. Yeah, this is the pan that I hit in this project since the last update, and I was really happy because I felt like I was working in that shade for a really long time. It already had usage when I rolled it in, but I was using a smaller brush but kind of fluffy anyway to use it in my outer corner, and that way we were moving really slowly. But then I realized that that shade can work for me as an eyebrow shade, and I decided to start doing that with an eyeliner pencil, like an eyeliner brush, and that way we start moving way faster, and that's the reason why the pan is so small. And I completely forgot to swatch the shades. Let me do that and we will keep talking. Okay, so here we have the swatch for the After Midnight shade, and here we have the shade Brownie. And it's kind of funny for me because in the swatch it looks really cool tone, like a cool tone brown, but when I apply it on my eyebrows, it looked kind of reddish, kind of too warm for my eyebrows. And I don't know why, almost any shade that I use in my eyebrows is too warm. But yeah, those are the 2 first colors, and since we already hit pan in a shade that started with the letter B, we're going to be able to roll in the next letter. In this case is the letter E. Okay, but let's move on with the letter C, and we're going back to this small palette. I decided to go with the shade Cocoa Crush, and this is how it looked in the first update and in the introduction. I don't know if I have pictures from the introduction, but if I have it, I'll leave them over here. And this is how it's looking now. Of course, you will be able to see it more clearly in the close-ups, but to be honest, I don't know if there is anything to see. I mean, I can see it from here, from person. I can see that it has some usage on it, but I don't know if that will translate in the camera and if you will be able to see it in the close-up. This shade I have used five times so far. It's way better than what I was expecting. Because I think in the first update I only used it once or twice, so I have at least double my uses since the last update. And again, with this color story, it's really easy for me to reach for these shades, and usually I do a combo of the After Midnight, Cocoa Crush, and Solitaire. This is a shade that I have in my Pandos eyeshadows right now, and that way I can use the shades in a little bit of an easier way, not have to think without thinking too much in what I want to do, and I can play with shade. I decided to go in the outer corner to darken out if I want to apply another shimmer and that kind of stuff, but it's way easier for me in a day that I don't want to think too much to create a look. And the last shade that we have in this project is for the letter D, and we decided to go with the shade Dandy from my Honey palette. Is this yellow golden over here? I don't know if I should even call it a golden because it's basically a yellow, a shimmery yellow. And I decided to go with this shade because at the beginning of last year I broke the shade. I wasn't able to recover the whole thing, so the amount that I was able to repress it wasn't enough to make like a whole pan, like a whole container, to say it in a way. So it's way more shallow than the typical ColourPop shades, and I thought that with a little bit of effort I should be able to hit pan on it, but I haven't put any effort on it because so far I have only used it twice. I think the first time I used it like at the beginning of the year, and since the last update I have only used it another one time. But this is not a color that I'm feeling inspired to. I don't want to roll it out yet, but I don't know, it's not something that I want to reach for. And again, I forget to make the swatches. Again, I'm a mess. Okay, so here we have the swatches for the last two shades. Here is Cocoa Crush and here is Dandy. But as I was saying, I haven't been feeling inspired to reach for these kind of colors at all lately. Here we are in winter, and goldens, even it's not even a golden. I really like goldens, but this is just a yellow, and yellow is not an easy shade for me to wear. So I don't know what to do. I feel like I should change it for something else since I'm not really working on it, but at the same time I don't want to give up. So I think what we're going to do is that if in the next update I haven't used it at least 5 times in total, that's like 3 extra uses, we're going to roll it out and roll something in its place. But yeah, this is the original color story. We're going to be rolling out this shade over here, and we're going to be rolling in a new shade, and I'm really excited about that. And it was really easy for me to choose the shade that I wanted to work in, because I was really lucky because my favorite shade in one of my newer palettes start with the letter E. And also the pans are quite, not small because they're like larger, but not as deep as the typical ColourPop pans. And I'm talking about the Limoncello palette, and specifically I'm talking about the Easy Peasy shade. Also, I really like the name, to be honest. This is the shade. Hopefully you will be able to see it a little bit more clearly in the close-ups because right now the lighting is washing off everything. But I'll give you a swatch. And I'm excited because you can see that these pans are not really deep. The only things that worries me and worries me a lot is that in a different project I decided to roll the shade Moonwalk, the Super Chalk Shadow that I'm also trying to hit pan on. And those two shades are kind of similar. I will say the one, the Super Chalk Shadow, has a little bit more green on it, and this one only has a little bit of a reflection. But I don't know, it's really, really pretty. The limoncello palette I have only used once, and that time that I used it, I used this shade and it was amazing. So I cannot wait to use this shade and the whole palette a lot more to be able to reach my goal in this shade. So yeah, if we take out this shade over here, this is our new color story. I feel like it doesn't make as much sense as the color story before. At least now we have something to work with the yellow. Maybe I can use it as an inner corner while I'm working in Easy Peasy. That might work. But yeah, since the lighting is washing off the colors, I'll leave a better picture of the new color story over here. If you have any ideas of how I can use these colors, please let me know. I would love to know. But yeah, that's everything for today. Let me know if you're doing this project, which is the letter that has been the more difficult for you. Right now, I will say my more difficult shade is Dandy. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's everything. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.